Chapter 7 deals with the laws of exponents. The first lesson, when we're talking about exponents and how we deal with them in math, is called the product property. If you remember, the product property, or the word product, means multiply. Multiply. So basically, this rule deals with what do you do when you have exponents that are being multiplied together, or algebraic expressions that are being multiplied together and they have exponents in them. Now before we dive in, I want to let you know that you will need your pencil. You will need at least one color, a pen or a colored pencil, whatever works for you, and 3 highlighter colors. So your pencil, a colored writing utensil, either a pen or a colored pencil, and 3 different colored highlighters. So if you need to, pause the video a minute and go get those supplies. All right, you ready to begin? Let's jump in. Whenever you have algebraic expressions that involve exponents that are being multiplied together, we're going to follow the product property, and this is a 4-step process, okay? Step 1, the first thing that you're going to do after you rewrite your problem is you are going to box all coefficients. Remember, coefficient, base, exponent. The coefficient is the number in front of the expression. So we're going to put a box around all of those numbers. The next step is to highlight the base with its exponent. Highlight the base and the exponent together as one piece. Now the key to this part is different bases are different colors. That's why I told you to get 3 different colored highlighters, okay? So every time the variable changes, you're going to change colors. Because remember, we can only work with bases or exponents if the bases are the same. And you'll see what I mean in just a little bit. Step 3 in this process is to multiply the coefficients. So multiply the 2 numbers that are in front. And the last step is to add the exponents. So once you know this rule, this product property, the only real math you're going to be doing is multiplying the numbers in the front and adding the exponents. Totally easy, you guys got this. The important thing too, I almost forgot to mention, is that you need to keep the bases the same, and that's a theme that you'll see throughout this chapter. Bases are the same. We keep them the same. We group them together. We like for things to be matchy-matchy. All right, so let's take a look at some of these practice problems together, and then of course we'll stop every once in a while for you to try the problem on your own, and that way when you come to class tomorrow you'll be ready to rock and roll. So let's take a look. All right, so number 1, I have v squared, and that's being multiplied by negative v to the 4th. Now if I think to myself, coefficient, base, exponent, coefficient, oh, there isn't a coefficient. That's okay. If there's not a number there, we can put in a 1 when things are being multiplied. So coefficient, base, exponent. Coefficient, well, the number's not written, but remember, it can be a 1. In this case, it's a negative 1. Coefficient, base, exponent. Good, I have my 3 parts, I'm ready to go. So the first step is going to be to box all coefficients. So I'm going to box this one, and I'm going to box this one. The next step is to highlight the base with its exponent. I only have one base in this problem, and that's a v here and a v here. Notice I highlighted the base with the exponent. Now I'm going to multiply the coefficients, the numbers that I boxed up. Well, 1 times negative 1 is just negative 1. That's pretty easy. Step 4, add the exponents, keeping the bases the same. So v squared and v to the 4th. I'm going to pay attention to just the exponents, 2 and 4, and I'm going to add them together. That's 6. The base will stay the same, and the new exponent is 6. So negative 1 v to the 6th is my final answer for this multiplication problem. Why don't you pause the video and give number 2 a try on your own. How'd you do? Did you get negative 8x to the 6th? I hope you did. If not, pause the video again and give it another shot and see if you can't get that answer as well. Let's take a look at number 3. Here I have my coefficient, base, exponent. Good. My coefficient here is not written, so I'm going to write it as a -1. Coefficient, base, exponent. Box my coefficients and highlight my bases. So -2 times -1, let me see, a negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 1 is 2, so +2. Base will stay the same, and 4 plus 4 is 8. So my answer here is 2a to the 8th. How about number 4? Notice this is different. We have 3 terms, or 3 parts to this product problem. That's okay. We can do the same exact process. Let's take a look. We have 2n squared, coefficient, base, exponent, times coefficient, base. No exponent is here, so I'm going to write in a 1 because that we're allowed to do. Times -n squared. Well, my coefficient is going to be -1, my base is n, my exponent is 2. So now I have coefficient, base, exponent, coefficient, base, exponent, coefficient, base, exponent. I know it's getting a little redundant, but trust me, it'll help you to keep it straight in the future. Box my coefficients and highlight my bases. We have 3 of them this time, but that's okay. Just follow the same process. Now we're going to multiply our coefficients together. Step 3. 2 times -2 is -4, times -1. Let's see, a negative times a negative is positive. 4 times 1 is 4. So +4. My base will stay the same, and I just have to add my exponents together. So 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So 4n to the 5th is the final answer for this product problem. Why don't you try number 5 on your own? Pause the video and give it a shot. Did you get -8y to the 8th? Hope you did. Now let's take a look at number 6 because things are getting a little bit tricky, but it's okay. Follow the same 4-step process and you'll be good to go. First, rewrite coefficient, base, exponent, base, exponent. Good. Nothing I have to fill in there. Times coefficient, base, exponent. Good. And remember, if any of those pieces were missing, I would just fill in a 1. Now I'm going to box my coefficients, and I'm going to highlight my bases with their exponents. But here's where you got to remember your special trick. Different bases are different colors. Here I have an M and an N. So I'm going to do the M in orange, and I don't have any other M's, so I'm done with that. And I'm going to do the N in pink. Everybody needs a little pink in their life. And I'm going to color both of the N's the same color. Now I can just follow through with steps 3 and 4. Multiply my coefficients. 3 times 3 is 9. And now I'm going to add my exponents, keeping the bases the same. So for base M, the only exponent I have is 4. I don't have anything to add, so it can stay 4. For base N, I have 4 and 2. When I add those together, I get 6. So my final answer here is 9, M to the 4th, N to the 6th. Let's take a look at another one of these that has more than one base. Number 7. Rewrite it as coefficient, base. I need an exponent, but there's not one there, so I'm going to put in a 1. Base, no exponent, so I put in a 1. Times coefficient, base, no exponent, so I put in a 1. Now I'm going to box my coefficients and highlight my bases. Remember, only highlight the ones that are the same. I don't have any other X's, so I'm done with orange. I'll highlight my Y's in pink again. Looks like my pink is getting a little tired. Can you tell what my favorite color is? Now I multiply my coefficients. 2 times -3 is -6. And I'm going to add the coefficients on my bases, making sure to keep the bases the same. X, well, there aren't any other X's, so the base stays the same, and the exponent will stay the same as well, because there's nothing to add to it. For my Y base, I have a 1 and a 1. Well, 1 plus 1 is 2, so my new exponent will be 2. -6, X to the 1, Y to the 2. Remember, I could leave that 1 off altogether if I want to. It's up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Some people like to keep the 1 there as a placeholder, and that is perfectly okay, because mathematically it's the same thing. How about number 8? Pause the video and see if you can get this one. There's multiple bases and coefficients are missing, so be careful. Did you get it? I hope so. Now let's take a look at the granddaddy of them all. Here we have 3 separate terms. We have multiple bases, but not a problem for us because we're going to follow the same 4 steps no matter what. Let's take a look. Coefficient, base, exponent, base, exponent, base, exponent. All good. Moving on to the next part. Coefficient, base, exponent. All good. Moving on to the next part. Coefficient, base, exponent. Awesome. So nothing was missing there. I'm going to box my exponents, box my coefficients, and highlight my bases with their exponent. Different color for every base. So base is X. Those are orange. Let's see, do I have any other X's? Nope, orange is done. Next comes pink. For Y, there's a Y. No other Y's. Pink is done. Now it's time for that 3rd highlighter color that I told you you would need. I've got green. Z is green. And here's a Z, and here's a Z. Now to actually do the multiplication. 2 times -3 is -6. Negative times a negative is positive, and 6 times 4 is 24, so positive 24. Now I'm going to go through and add up my exponents, keeping my bases the same. So for my X base, I have just 2. For my Y base, I have just 2 again. So that'll stay the same, nothing to add up there. For my Z base, I have 2 plus 3, that's 5, plus 4 is 9. So my new exponent is 9. And there's my final answer. Why don't you pause the video and take a look at number 10? This one is one of your secret questions, so I'll save working this one on the next video. All right, you back for more? Ready for number 11? Let's take a look. Here we have coefficient, base, exponent, all good. Now I'm moving on to the next term. Anytime you see that multiplication sign, that's when you know it's time to start over with your coefficient, base, exponent. Coefficient, base, oh, no exponent, so I'm going to write in a 1. Base, exponent is 4, base, exponent, whew, all good. Now, to box my coefficients and highlight my bases. B will be orange. Any other B's? Here's one. C will be pink. And there's another C, and one last base, all by its lonesome. And now I'm ready to multiply. 3 times -4 is -12. Now, here's the tricky part. When you have more than one variable, try to put them in alphabetical order. They may not appear that way in the problem, but with multiplication, we can move things around, and it doesn't change the outcome. Kind of like 8 times 2 is the same thing as 2 times 8. So for your final answer, try to put them in alphabetical order. So we're going to start with A. For base A, I have one exponent and it's 4. Nothing to add, so it stays the same. For base B, I have an exponent of 3 and I have an exponent of 1. So I'm going to add those two together to get an exponent of 4 in my final answer. For base C, I have an exponent of 2 and an exponent of 3. Add them together and my final exponent is 5. And there's your final answer. Go ahead and do number 12, also a secret question. So if you want to get the answers for 10 and 12, remember you'll need to watch the next video that shows how to do those. And that you only have to do if you get them incorrect. So good luck and have fun, and we'll see you in class.